Hi class, I'm going to prepare you for your exam today. I hope everything's well. I hope you can all attend the exam. Remember, it's 15% of your grade, so you want to make sure you show up. So it's from 2 to 4 p.m. today. I'll post it on Blackboard. It will show, if you want to know how it works, it'll show up, unlike the other essays that I've posted, it will show up. I'll post it a little bit before 2 p.m., give you time to get organized. Make sure you have your textbook, your notes. Obviously it's an open book exam, but I expect you not to plagiarize, obviously. You're going to write one essay. You're going to use 3 sources. So last night I sent you a list of everything that we've read this semester. I think there were only 2 that weren't in the textbook, and that's Langston Hughes's One Friday Morning and Tobias Wolff's Bullet in the Brain. So if you feel you might use one or both of those sources, you might want to have them printed out in front of you. Unless you have easy access to the split screen and all of that. I know that you're probably more computer proficient than I am. So, but we've all been forced to do everything online for the last couple months. So anyway, it'll be interesting. So this is my backyard in Connecticut. It's such a beautiful day. I thought I would sit outside. So anyway, I want to go over a few ideas for the exam, and I think it should help you. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on the time because it's been taking me a long time to upload these videos. I found out that my internet apparently is a lot slower than I realized. Okay, so in the final exam you'll have probably 3 choices, and you'll just pick one, and you'll only write one essay. All right, so you have 2 hours, 2 1/4. I'll give you 15 extra minutes. You have 2 hours and 15 minutes to write an essay. Now I realize that you're writing an essay under pressure. So what that means is I'll grade it more liberally. I expect you to write an essay. I expect it to be in paragraphs, and I hope that it will be organized. Now, since you're writing about 3 stories, or the play, of course you can write about A Doll's House. So you're writing about 3 of the works we've studied. The easy way to organize it would be to have an introduction, introduce your thesis statement and your topic, which will be related to one of the prompts, So introduce the topic, try to have an interesting introduction, to catch your reader's attention. And then, if you wanted to make it very simple for yourself, you could just write a paragraph about each reading that you're discussing and explain how it relates to that topic and go into some detail. The more detail, probably the better grade you'll get. So you want to use some quotes. You have plenty of time. If there are 3 readings that you love and you think that you're going to use in the essay today, 3 or 4, maybe pick 5 just to give yourself some choices. Study those. Pick out some quotes. Think about the dominant themes that we've discussed throughout the semester. Like one theme is secrets, right? Think about what stories had like secrets or even lies, Clearly, the storm, the big secret that was never revealed, at least in the story, is the affair that happened between Calixta and Alcée. So what other stories can you think of that deal with secrets? Well, let's think about this. Story of an Hour, another Kate Chopin piece of writing. Story of an Hour. Remember that? We read it the first day of class. So in Story of an Hour, you had Louise Mallard is her name, and she, her big secret was that she was rejoicing her husband's death from the train accident, and in the end, she ends up dying of a heart attack. Remember the shocking ending? Kate Chopin likes those shocking endings, apparently I do, because a lot of our stories have somewhat of shocking endings. You know, think of A Doll's House. I think that most of us, upon the first reading of that play, uh, we didn't see that Nora was going to walk out on our family. You know, we didn't foresee that. All right, so, and again, A Doll's House. That's a great story for secrets, right? A great play, I should say. So, you know, what is Nora's big secret? Nora's big secret, you could argue that Nora's secret destroys her marriage. You know, you could have written your research paper about the fact that you felt the secret that Nora took that loan without her husband's knowledge. You know, even permission. Obviously, in the 1900s, in the late 1800s and the 1900s, as a matter of fact, you know, women couldn't take out a loan without an adult male's co-signature. So, as we find out, you know, Nora forges the signature of her father. So that is part of her big secret. And she even at one point in the play says that that secret is her prize and joy, you know, pride and joy. So it empowers her. And so that's another theme that you should think about. And I've talked about this, hopefully I talked about it during the semester. So power versus empowerment. So power, if you chose to write about power, if that indeed was one of the selections I gave you, I think there's many of these stories relate to the idea of power. So power by society, you know, you could write about patriarchy, and I'm sure you could find three of these readings that deal with that. You know, we have Alice Walker, you know, everyday use. We have the power of Mama, who's a very poor woman in the South, versus the difference between her two daughters, that conflict. You know, you have the idea of empowerment is different from power, right? So power, you could write about the lack of power, perhaps. You know, if you had a choice to write about power, lack of power, whenever you have a group of people or a person with power, usually you have someone who's the victim, who has no power or hasn't chosen to rebel in a way. So obviously, in A Doll's House, this would be a great one to talk about power versus empowerment, because in the beginning and throughout the play, you know, who has the power? Torvald has the power because he's the white man in society in the late 1800s. And if you did your reading for the research paper, you would realize that in A Doll's House and in the late 1800s, a married woman has the least amount of power. And again, that goes with Story of an Hour. It goes with The Storm. You know, perhaps the reason Calixta has that affair is to empower herself, you know, so that's empowerment. So empowerment is like taking back the power. So Nora, at the end of the play, takes back the power. Think of Cat in the Rain. That's another one. So that's Hemingway. So you have the American wife who doesn't even have a name. She's the American girl or the American wife. American girl is even more subservient, right? She's like a child. Think about Desiree and Desiree's baby. She has no power, right? Her final act in committing suicide, unfortunately, with her baby, maybe that's an act of empowerment. You know, we didn't necessarily discuss it in that manner, but you could look at it as a defiant act. You know, you could argue, the counter argument would be that Desiree is suffering from a bit of a nervous breakdown. You know, she breaks down in the end because she is rejected. You know, some of you talked about her being adopted. You know, so I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to do another shorter video so that these don't take too long to load. So I want you to keep studying the keep studying our readings for so that you can write a well-organized essay today at 2 o'clock. All right, we'll see you later.